What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. This is True Crime in the Morning. I'm your host, Patrick Vallejos. My friends call me Sleuth. Today, we will be discussing a quadruple homicide out of Flora, Indiana. Keyara, Kerriele, and Kionnie were murdered November 21st, 2016 in an arson fire. And we'll get going here in just a few minutes. Good to see everybody. Rescue all the dogs. Lisa, Olivia, Jill Moser, good to see you. Patricia, Saska, welcome. Always good to see you. Dawn, good morning. 63 Clocks, Doris, Sparky, Cindy. Thank you, Don. Thank you, Cindy. Looks like I figured out what was causing the echo in our last stream that we did. The intro was echoing, so I had to remove it, unfortunately. But you can't share your screen and then share a video clip in StreamYard, or it'll play the audio from both. Just FYI. Thank you, Phil. Good to see you. Melissa, how are you? Poll, don't let me read question. Just says yes or no or somewhat. Didn't know what I'm answering, but I clicked yes. It was just a simple question. Do you know the case? Yes, no, somewhat. Gives me an idea of what I should cover and what I shouldn't. Don Halliford says, bless all the families in this intro. So those were the 20 cases that we covered in basically, I don't know, I want to call it season 1 of True Crime in the Morning. Guess this will be considered season 2. So a little bit of what you can expect from today's live stream. A lot of videos. We're going to look at a video first that I put together. It'll basically be an overview of the case, all the facts, your basic information. Then there's going to be a lot of local media that I pulled. If you guys want to, we can watch the entire Flora presser. I only wanted to watch the last 5 minutes of it because in that presser, Doug kind of makes it seem like he's interested in the girl's mother. So he kind of put it out there that they weren't cooperating. And then right after that, we're going to watch a video where they clarify that that is not the case. But I just want to, after watching the other video, I wanted to go back and grab the presser where he clearly kind of threw them under the bus, made it seem like they weren't cooperating, and kind of created that shadow that over their head. And they didn't do a real good job of clarifying that. Then there's another video of Doug talking about POIs that he has. I haven't heard anything about those POIs. Then we're going to go through, I think, year 3, year 4, year 5, just quick little 2-minute media releases. And then we're going to watch the Flora Fire dash cam video. So before we do anything, let's take a look at these advisors. Then we'll move on to just one quick article about them determining that it was arson. Because remember, at first, they didn't consider it an arson. I think they even tried to say it was an electrical fire. I got a little bit of information on the autopsy. That way, people can see that it's not like they were killed and abused or something, and then the fire was used to cover up the crime, which does happen actually quite often in murder cases. So we'll take a quick look. Nothing detailed because they're all pretty much similar with all four girls, but we're going to take a look exactly. It explains the condition that the girls were in. Great condition. Not considering their wounds. So it's not like they were beaten and killed and then burned to conceal that crime. So we'll use that information just to kind of talk about that part of it. That way nobody's confused. Then recently, Flora was mentioned in the Delphi defense memo, linking those together. So we'll watch part of my interview with somebody that was named in that memo. We'll read that part of the memo where that's discussed. We'll take a quick look at just a quick part of that video and interview with Patrick Westfall. And then we'll open it up for discussion. Good morning, Star Cookie. Laura Croft. Laura Croft won't be chatting. You were blocked yesterday? I didn't know that. So you know I'm here. Good to see you, Sparky. Cindy Lean. I think investigators think she knows more. I don't know. Maybe she does and is terrified to come forward since she was treated so poorly from the start. Maybe they really want to nail someone specific. The only problem is I don't see any specific information that points to a motive. We don't know if this was racially motivated, if this was retaliation, if this was something else, maybe the homeowners or some kind of insurance scam. We don't know what this is, something that's gone wrong. Were the girls targeted? Was the family targeted? Were they expected to escape from the home? I don't see any information providing answers to that part of all of it. At least not from my end. All right, we are at the 10-minute mark. Lisa says, I'm glad somebody is covering the arson and not just the firefight. I must have misunderstood your comment. Sorry, Laura. Jessica, good to see you. Yeah, this is a tragedy beyond words. Cindy says, I think insurance scam gone wrong. At some point, I'm pretty sure the homeowners were sued by the family of the victims successfully, I believe. CJK, good to see you. Oh, hi, Beck. Okay, let's see. So let's start here. Let me share my screen with you guys. We are about at the 10-minute mark. Now, hopefully this video isn't too loud. This is a video I made as an overview for the case. Yeah, I'm the same way, Sparky. I don't really have an opinion right now. Just more about bringing awareness to it. So I agree with that. On November 21st, 2016, Keyana Davis, 11, Keyara Phillips, 9, Kerriele McDonald, 7, and Kionnie Welch, 5, were tragically killed in a house fire at 103 East Columbia Street in Flora.
County, send tones. Keep sending off tones, please. We still got 4 kids inside. We can't get inside.
A couple of months after the deadly fire, investigators confirmed they found accelerants in the home. The house at the corner of Columbia and Division Streets has burn marks on the siding, broken windows, has boarded up doors, and justice nowhere in sight. Family members are still confident the person responsible will be found. They want the arsonist caught so their family can find peace. Anyone with information on the Flora fire is urged to contact the tip line at 1-800-382-4628 or visit the Indiana State Police website. Check the description of this video for more details. Thank you.
That night because the way that the flames went so quick. That night because the way that the flames went so quick, and that mother coming out, and the only thing she did was screaming to save her baby. And to hear them girls scream back for their mom is the most devastating thing anybody can hear. Not alone should have to go through.
She kept, telling me over and over, Jeff, I did everything. I couldn't get past the smoke. I tried to get to my babies. I couldn't get it. The fire wouldn't let me get.
And remember, the mother of these 4 girls was airlifted to a hospital. So her and the responding officer barely survived this incident. So the only 2 people that even attempted to save those girls were, of course, the mother and this officer who showed up somewhat late to the scene.
I felt so much, hurt for that mom. Like, she didn't lose 1 or 2. She lost all 4. I mean, her kids are her life, and it's just, it was really hard to see all of it.
Then they had to stare at the house.
My girls was everything.
Not being fixed for how long?
Keyana, she played basketball. Keyana was gonna be a superstar in basketball.
One of the main things that I was thinking of when I see those 4 girls in a photo together, having a family like that, 4 sisters, imagine what they would have been able to accomplish in the world together. That little crew.
Yeah, was just gonna be all around. Keyara, she was more of herself. Very special, man. Kate Peter. She would have just been real smart.
Yeah, that one's tough to watch. Yeah, Lisa, I think the homeowner, she was just renting there. I think there was a couple people renting out of there. But you just wonder why somebody would light a fire. Could it have been kids? I mean, I could see kids lighting a fire but using an accelerant. That seems a little more sophisticated and looking for a specific word. but I feel like more intentional, not just out of anger, more like, not only am I mad, I'm going to go ahead and get my revenge. I'm not just angry. I'm not just lashing out. I plan to be successful. Yeah, a huge embarrassment for that fire department there. Very embarrassing. I don't think I've heard a response from them. What's up, Haunted Stella? Ho, ho, ho. Yeah, imagine the guilt she goes through. I mean, all you can do is go into the flames. She did that. What time of day? I think it was around 2 a.m. Let me see here. I have a sheet here of everybody who was on scene. I don't know if it gives the time of day, but I'm sure it will in the dash cam video. I mean, it's got to be early in the morning. For some reason, I want to say 2. 2 in the morning. Yeah, malicious. Well, I mean, starting any fire is malicious, but all right, let's try to get through these media clips here. That way we can kind of grasp all the details of the case.
The state police superintendent responded to criticism about how that investigation is being handled. Paris Lubell joins us live from state police headquarters. Paris?
Erica, good evening. The superintendent was emotional and direct tonight during that press conference. He says the comments made by the NAACP were just simply not true. Now, during that press conference, he says he takes full blame for the investigation getting off to a rocky start, but says his investigators are committed to solving this case and finding the killer. And any notion that they're not is simply an insult.
And even the notion that there would be even the perception of a cover-up in regards to an investigation involving 4 little girls is not only unsubstantiated, but, ladies and gentlemen, it strikes me at the very core of who I am and the agency that I represent. I hope that one day we can tell you what we know.
Oh, God.
And I hope one day I can look into the eyes of a person that killed 4 little girls and then explain to you what we knew and when. But criticize me all you want to. I'm not going to do it today.
Superintendent
Typical
says they are
Doug
actively
Carter.
working this case, and he says he does promise that he will release that information
What's up, Jim?
just as soon as he can, as soon as this investigation wraps up. Reporting live tonight, I'm Call 6 Investigates, Paris Lubell.
All right. I guess we'll watch the whole presser. It's like 20 minutes long.
Has expressed some concern that they don't feel like they've been getting enough information and that there's not been a whole lot of movement that they can see or have even been told about.
Yeah.
What can you say about the status of this investigation and where it stands right now?
Sure, it's a good question. We tend to be a bit frustrated as well. There are some pieces and parts of any investigation that we obviously can't share with family members. There'll come a time that we can. It's going to be important as we continue to move forward with the Flora investigation that we have
I don't think so, Don.
unfettered access to all family members.
Don says, wonder if there were fire alarms. Were there? I don't believe there were. And if they were, I don't know if they had good battery. I know there's an issue with the fire alarms because Flora, after the fires, did I think they went and like gave out smoke detectors and things like that, fire alarms.
And until that time comes,
What's up,
they're
missing
going to be
unsolved?
dealt as an information that we have. Now, please remember that we are tasked and the system is developed and built for law enforcement to act on what they know, not what they think. And there are very, very clear guidelines as to what we do and why.
Thank you, Sparky.
So there are going to be times that we can't explain to families what we know or what we think, because the information that we might share with them would only be known to the person that set that fire or that killed an individual or whatever that might be. And you've been around a long time, and I think you know exactly what I'm talking about there. There are some things we just simply can't talk about. But we have flown all over the country. We've accepted tips.
Olivia says, sadly, this case has been neglected, in my opinion. Yeah, you hear the words that are coming out of Doug Carter's mouth, but the actions from that team do not reflect the words that he's speaking. They didn't do any huge press conferences. They haven't done any secondary conferences. I mean, this is it. And I understand that they're not getting all the tips, and it's not this huge national like media event, but still, I mean, they need to do the investigation. They need to take it seriously. And I don't think that they're doing that. I feel like they're just sitting back waiting for tips. Like, okay, as soon as we get a tip, we're going to get up and we're going to go ahead and we're going to, give it that old college try again. No, they need to be more active with this case. They need to talk about it. They need to take it more seriously. Because, I mean, think about it. In the middle of the night, somebody dumped some kind of a accelerant on the home, within the home, and lit them all on fire. And remember, the house was filled with people, not just 4 girls. There was all kinds of people in there. So what would cause somebody to do that? A lot of people say, oh, well, the family was black, so it's got to be racially motivated because it's in Indiana. I mean, that could be the case. But where's the information that would indicate that? Because remember, they want to catch the right person who did this. So you want to get the information right, or you're going to overlook the person who may have been involved in this. Was there something going on the weeks prior to the crime? Was this retaliation? Was this... I'm not quite sure.
From all over Indiana, we've sent detectives to those places where those tips have come to us, up to and including Illinois, Kentucky, Ohio, California, to talk to people that might have some information. It's very, very important that we understand who's been at that house, who had been at the house, what those dynamics were of those people that did visit the home. And right now, we don't know what those answers are.
So I guess then just to dovetail on that, I understand that there are some things that you can't tell, but do you think the ISP has had the type of presence that is necessary to bring forth those kinds of tips? I know they have specifically compared this case to the Delphi case. They're different cases.
Very
but
different.
Still, you've been on national TV talking about the Delphi case, the things that you could talk about.
Mm-hmm.
There are updates periodically.
And see, in their defense, what is he going to say? Let's say he has this huge press conference. He's going to go ahead and give the details of the case, but he doesn't really have anything else. What is what's he looking for? He can't tell you what he's looking for. What's the profile of this person? With the Delphi, you had that video and the audio, which is what captivated the world. In this case, you simply just don't have evidence. So it's important that anybody that's out there watching this video right now, if you know anything, I mean, even if it's something really strange and you're like, well, you know, don't convince yourself that it's nothing. Don't convince it away.
And we've just not seen that in this particular
Because we
case.
don't have access to the whole family, Sandra. We have to sit down and have unfettered, completely transparent.
Hold on, guys. I'm having that weird delay again. Give me a second. It'll be just one moment. I'll be back up. Sorry about that, guys. But we are back in business.
With everybody that had access to that home for the weeks, months, and days up to that day where those 4 beautiful girls were killed. That's why. That's why. And I think that there will come a time when we will be able to share more with you. I wish I could share with you today what I know, but I'm not going to. And I'll take the criticism for that, because again, there's only a few people that understand the dynamics of that home, who was there, what was happening there, who got along, who didn't.
See, I think what he's trying to figure out, what would motivate somebody to burn down that house? And only the people within that home know that. What were their relationships? Did somebody retaliate for whatever reason? If they can find out what that reason is, they'll know who the person is. I think that's what he's talking about.
And we don't know what those are. We just simply don't know. No, we need to.
Superintendent, you said for the second time, you used the word unfiltered access to all family members. Unfettered access to all family members. What does that mean?
Well, you know, I developed a relationship with Jackie, the aunt. I had tried to introduce myself to the little girl's mom at one of the anniversaries. We've now been through 2 of those, and I've been to both of them. And it's going to be important that we sit down and not me, of course, the detectives that have given so much of this, and so much of their lives to these little girls that nobody knows about, but I do, and I'm so proud of them. But they sit down and have an open, honest, candid conversation about the days and months leading up to that dreaded day. That's important. That is important. And it's going to be important to the conclusion of this case. And it's going to be important that we're able to identify some of the deltas or disconnects of what we believe now versus what we'll need to know in the event of a prosecution.
Haunted Stella says, Sleuth, did you see that content creator about Becky and her pumpkin garden? No, I haven't seen that.
And I hope that one day there is. That's what I mean by unfettered.
And when you mean unfettered,
What's up, Cruz?
So do you still need to speak to 10 more? I mean, I know you don't have to get into specifics, but is it a number of people that you still need to speak to at least have that portion of the unfetteredness wrapped up?
Yes.
Daisy says the arson fires don't seem to get solved. Yeah, it's a crazy weapon to use for murder. You know, you light the fire and then the fire becomes alive and does everything for you. You know, it's leaving its own trail that's not really connected to you. The only connection is the accelerant and however you lit it and then however you got to the crime scene. but it's not like you went to the home and had a fight with the victims and left your DNA and it was sexually motivated. Sometimes that happens and then they create a fire, but in an arson type fire, we're in like this similar situation, you know, the fire kind of becomes the monster that was unleashed. So it's, I think that would make it hard.
I think that number is more than one. Anybody that would have had access to that home or to those little girls.
It was proved to be arson.
Or to their mom.
100% unsolved.
Or to the dad, or the dads of these little girls. And we've hit stumbling blocks there.
How many times have you had a person of interest in this case?
I don't think I can tell you a number of times. I believe that we probably identified people that we need to corroborate what they're telling us. But there's no number of times. If there were numbers of times, I would have told you.
Let's watch this quick little video first.
Some people. That's all I can say about that.
Would you call them persons of interest?
I would.
So there are persons of interest.
That's what I would call them.
More than one?
There are persons of interest.
Okay.
I don't think I can tell you a number of times. I believe that we probably identified of these little girls, and we've hit stumbling blocks there.
How many times have you had a person of interest in this case?
I don't think I can tell you a number of times. I believe that we probably identified people that we need to corroborate what they're telling us. But there's no number of times. If there were numbers of times, I would have told you.
But is there a person of interest at this?
Yeah, they found accelerants.
I think that we could close our eyes and look back on what we know now.
Daisy, yes, after local fire department said it was not arson, state and fire investigators came and said it is arson. They found accelerants in one spot of the home.
And very likely say yes, but that's as far as I'm going to go with that.
You put a time frame on it. Why now are you saying that you close your eyes and now what you know now, looking back, you think you do?
I guess I don't understand your question.
Well, you kind of put a time frame on saying that what you know now. So as if some time has passed and some other new information has come forward that now you.
Susan Oswald says somebody wanted great harm to this family for something very personal. Well, the thing is, there was multiple families in that home. So it's hard to say who they're targeting. But if investigators don't know what was going on the days, weeks, months leading up to the crime, they don't know. They have no idea what the motivation is. They don't know what the relationships are. Why would somebody do this?
Can say that you have a
new information is coming to us pretty regularly, but we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about what we're hearing and what we're being told.
Oh, I haven't seen it still.
We have to get access to the entire family, period.
Are family members not cooperating? Has that been the challenge for why you guys can't get access?
We've not been able to sit down with them and have that conversation.
Why?
I don't know.
So they're not cooperating?
They've not offered themselves to sit down with us.
What do you mean offering? Are you not, did you not call? Are you not calling and saying, hey, can we get that interview? You're sitting there waiting and saying, oh, I'm just waiting for the call. Nobody's called. Aren't you the investigator? These are the victims here. You need to be going out there showing. You should have been at, investigators should have been at the home, notepads, recorders, everything in hand, ready to interview or take them to a facility to interview these people. They should have been there to accommodate them.
Issues that I've mentioned previously.
I would imagine, sir, that you'd be open. I mean, this is an invitation, I would imagine.
Those detectives will fly anywhere in the nation, anywhere in the world.
But they have to ask,
meet with this family,
why don't you just go do it? Just go do it.
Sit down and talk about what they know and what they did up to and including that day.
So all they have to do is call.
All they have to do is call. We'll be there.
The investigators and make the arrangements, and you'll follow through with the appropriate.
Yes, we've been to California, but that did not ultimately end up in an interview.
My understanding was that you.
California, that must be maybe for a father of one of the girls.
right after they moved out there and spoke with.
Or somebody
There
that
was a
moved.
single family member that we were able to talk to, but that's all. That's not why we went out there.
So are you saying the mother of these girls is not talking to Indiana State Police?
We would love to sit down with the mother and talk to her.
Is this because of the legal issues that are going on?
I'm not a lawyer, Sandra. I don't know.
But she's refused to
What
speak.
do you mean you're not a
She's
lawyer?
not sat down and talked to
You
us.
should know the law.
I wish she
You guys
would.
have asked her?
I'm sorry.
You guys have asked her?
We have. We flew to California to try and get that done.
Superintendent, you mentioned that you've flown to other states. You mentioned Illinois, Kentucky, Ohio, California. In those cases, sir, was that to gather evidence or to talk to people? Can you give us a global perspective as to the case?
I can't, but what I can tell you generically, as you all have heard me say many
Not
times
sure, Nedra.
before, some of these cases are based solely on evidence and scientific ability, right? But let's not lose sight of the human piece of these. It's important that we have human beings talk to us about what they knew or even what they think. And that's important, particularly in an arson case. So comparing one case to another simply is completely unfair. They're very, very, very different. I just hope so much that one day I can explain to you what happened.
Superintendent, can you, I know.
No, I'm
that
not really worried about it,
evidence
Haunted.
Is crucial, no matter what case you're working on.
If
But
they're
in
trying to
some
blame
cases, you
Kelsey
said,
or
"We're
anything, I'm
looking
not.
for this car, we're looking for
Not even interested.
this, we're looking for, in some cases, you're fortunate enough to have a sketch or two sketches, what have you. There's nothing in this case that you all can put out in the public and say, here's what else we need to know. We need you to come forward and help us with maybe this part of it.
Every investigation standard starts with a nucleus, whether that be a place, a car, a room, a residence, an apartment, a business, a church, a family. That's where they start. And we,
Sleuth doesn't read my comments. What are you talking about? I've read a lot of them. But you're acting really weird. I'm starting to think that you might be a troll. So moderators, keep your eye on Haunted Stella for me.
we've not lightened up on this even one iota since it began. Not one iota. Gosh, I wish you could see these specifically two detectives that have just committed their lives to this. But we can't talk about every week what they've done and what they do.
Right, Cindy?
And until we have those real conversations.
Yeah, I'm not buying anything
and are
that
able to
he's
sit
saying.
down face to face.
Doug's job is to spoon feed the media and then lay low until he has to do it again. Until everybody makes a big stink, then he's got to come back, spoon feed everybody.
Because everything prior to that day is important. It's very, very important. And I hope one day we'll be able to do that. And again, we'll go anywhere in this country to see that it's done.
How many family members are you trying to talk to, or people that were there before, or
All I can say is any family member, friend, acquaintance, or relative that might have had access to that
What's up,
home,
Shadowbox?
and
Good to
those
see
that
you.
came and went, we want to talk to.
is that the biggest hurdle you guys are facing now in this?
What's up, Brad?
Yes,
Having candid conversations
yes.
with the girl's mother and other friends, acquaintances.
Everybody that I've identified, yes.
Is there any evidence at this point that continues to solidify your rule?
Yeah, Haunted Stella, I think you might be right. After I said that, it kind of clicked in my head. Like, I believe she was living in California momentarily. You might be right.
I can't talk about the study, the evidence that we have, but I can tell you that we stand on the
Yep, Shadow,
earlier information
one-liners.
that we believe it was absolutely arson. And we still are there today. We still believe that it was arson, intentionally so.
Do you believe whoever did intentionally set this
Thank you, CJK.
knows the family or has some
What's up, Jamie?
Very likely. But again, it is subjective opinion, and I just offered mine to you. But I believe so. I do not believe this was
What's up, Charlotte?
this was targeted.
Julia.
Is there motivation?
That's what we need to learn. That's what we need to understand that we don't understand today.
The motive. They need help with that.
You believe it was targeted?
I do not believe the family was targeted.
but you believe whoever said this did know the family.
Or was it
Had
in
type
some
of
way?
connection.
Very likely, very likely.
What the hell?
But
What does
certainly
that even
nothing is
mean?
conclusive right now until we're done.
That doesn't make any sense.
When you talk about needing to talk with
What's
the
up?
family,
Chorizo and
has
eggs.
anyone been ruled out?
Happy
We need
Tuesday.
to talk with the family.
So no one's been ruled out.
No.
Thanks, Jamie.
You know, and I'll add to that just a little bit of narrative. I mentioned earlier when we started, we have right and left limits and boundaries within law and what our Constitution allows for us to do. It's very easy to come up with a subjective opinion based on what people think, but not on what they know. And shame on us if we ever do that. I hope you'll, and I think that you will, you'll hold us completely.
Saska says, I get the feeling Doug doesn't feel it's racially motivated. What would it be then? Revenge? Yeah, it kind of seems like he's leaning towards that. He wants to know what was going on with anybody that was involved, you know, the days and weeks and months prior to the crime. Why would they retaliate? What happened?
Accountable. So again, any criticism that we receive for not releasing information is on me, and I'll take that every single day.
Hey, Doris.
Every single day. Because what will happen if I don't is if we start giving opinions, what if they're not right? Then you're going to come back to us and say, well, that's not, Superintendent, what you said. So I try very hard not to put us in that position. If it's bad within the ISP, it comes to me. And I'll stand out in front of it and hold people accountable. But I will also defend them until my last day if I believe they're doing the right thing.
A lot of
and I could
double
write a
speak.
book based upon what I've learned in Carroll County, Indiana, and in the region around Carroll County, Indiana, and in the state of Indiana, and nationally. And I didn't reach out to Megan Kelly or Dr. Phil to go see them. They reached out to me.
We got a super chat from Shadowbox. Thank you. Sponsoring today's live stream. Gotta run. Crazy day. Go get a cold brew on me, Sleuth. Thank you. I appreciate that.
So
thanks, Shadow.
All of those things that have happened over this course of time, while we don't have a conclusion, I promised my dad a long time ago I wouldn't become cynical, and I'm going to believe that we're going to come to a conclusion here. And I'm not going to allow these decisions, whether they be in Delphi or Flora or anywhere else in Indiana, to taint what we do as a profession or what we do as a people. I'm just not. So I hope I've made myself very clear there. I've tried very, very hard to be accessible to you all, but I'm not going to talk.
Missing says, where was the starting point of the fire? There were 2 families living in the house. I take it the other family got out of the house. Yeah, everybody got out but the 4 girls. I think they were sleeping on the 3rd floor. They were kind of trapped. I think the stairs leading upstairs caught on fire. That whole area, I think, was on fire, and you couldn't get to them. I think the mother and one of the first responders tried to, and they almost died.
Talk about what I think. I'm going to talk about what I know.
So what do you say to a mother who is grieving the loss of 4 children? You're saying that her family is
Yeah, Jamie, take a break when you need to.
They could be persons of interest.
We're always here for you.
That you're looking at for 2.5 years and you have no other answers. How is that family supposed to deal with what they have in front of them as far as trying to understand what happened to their girls?
Well, the first thing I would never do is say that I understand, because I've not lost 4 children, nor have you. So I'm not going to do that. I'm a guy of tremendous empathy and emotion. And I cannot imagine what she's going through or what that family has had to endure. I cannot imagine. But what I will not do is allow that emotion to make us do something that we know we shouldn't do in the investigation.
CJK says, I thought I heard the homeowner did not receive payout on this fire, but I could be wrong. I'm not sure. I know that there's 2 lawsuits going on, and I believe that the family members may have won both lawsuits successfully. But I could be wrong. I'll look into this, and we'll do a follow-up maybe during a sleuth crew check-in.
Strategy or an investigation or the development of the investigation. That's what I'm not going to do. So again, I'm hurt that they think we haven't done anything. But again, I'll take the criticism.
The worst way,
because we're doing
Brad.
the right things. We are.
So not only did you lose 4 children, you lost them in one of the worst possible ways ever. I mean, just to think about the suffering that happened is, I can put myself in a lot of positions. Sometimes I can put myself in the position of certain killers. What were they thinking? Put my position in positions of the victims. What were they possibly thinking? What were they feeling? The dread, the horror. But this one is really hard for me because it's a great fear of mine to die by fire. I think that'd be the worst way to go. So to try to put yourself in that situation is really scary.
Doing the right things, and we'll continue to do that. But Sandra, it's a good question. I wish I had the answer. I see death, dying, destruction, hurt, pain, and sorrow every day of my life. And so does your husband. Every single day. We see it and we deal with it. And we wish we could wave a wand and sit down with a mom or a dad. And I've done it so many times I've forgotten. And tried to explain to them what happened to their loved one. And sometimes there's no criminal process. But when
missing unsolved crime, so they were the target then, the mother and the little girls. I'm not sure. I don't know who the target was. You know, you got to figure out what the motive was. Why would somebody do this? I mean, we know why people do things similar to this and why some have done this, but what about this specific situation here in Flora? Why would somebody do this? Somebody did this and they did it for a reason. They had a reason to do it.
there is,
What is their reason?
that strategy has got, or the nucleus of that investigation has to be at ground zero. It has to be. And if there is, and it's complex like this one is, like many of them others
Complex.
are around Indiana,
There's that word, complex. Doug Carter uses that word for everything.
we're going to do things and know things and hear things and talk about things that the family's not going to be able.
He's like, I was trying to find the press conference today where you guys were all at, but I was lost in the hallways. The layout, it's very complex. I was lost for an hour. Very complex.
able to know about.
But is there anything that you will do different going forward as far as even updating the public about this case? Will that change? Because right now, I don't think we have been able to talk with you about this case since the anniversary, which was last November.
And we haven't been able to talk to people either.
Haunted Stella. Well, I'm going to leave being called the troll zone. Of course you're going to leave because you're trolling the chat. You're acting all weird. That's why I put the spotlight on you. So you're just continuing on with more of that behavior.
So we're at a bit of a stalemate, aren't we?
Well, I'm just saying, is there?
If there was new
going to be anything
information, you'll see me again. I promise you, you'll see me again. But what I'm not going to do is speculate. So if there is substantial information or information of substance that comes to this case or to this community, I assure you it will come out. We're not hiding anything, and any inference that we are is simply.
Thank you,
appropriate
Haunted
law.
Stella. Same to you.
Lieutenant, can you clarify something you said earlier? You were asked about the person of interest. I want to make sure that I leave this room with clarity and accuracy.
Yeah.
Chorizo and eggs, not to mention the amount of arsons that happened in Carroll. A lot. Prior to this, a doctor's family was killed in a fire. I believe it could have been arson. In 2017, there was somebody who was arrested for arson in Flora.
Is there a person of interest?
Everybody is until they're not, Raphael, right? Everybody is until they're not. Same as you've asked me in Delphi, and media outlets from around the country have asked me there. Everybody is until they're not. And again, the information that we have got to have is what were the relationships of people that regularly came to that home and why. And
Thank you,
as far as
Jamie.
I'll go
Well said.
explaining it. But everybody is until they aren't.
And sir, and also for clarity's sake, so that people can't say, well, they haven't called us, so we don't know who to contact.
Sparky.
Those people that you need to
So
speak to,
complex.
they're asking for a phone number at this point, but can we get a number or to detective's number that if they need to
I would
call
give you a phone number,
the
but
arson hotline
it's
number,
very complex.
what do they call
They can
it?
call both detectives from Lafayette Post. They've already have been in contact with them. Our website, the arson hotline. Many of the family members have my personal cell number. They can call me.
Is that what you're asking for in this case?
There are several ways for them to reach the ISP. And if they can't reach anyone and they want to call me or they want to call me first, they have my number.
Daisy says shady fire department activities. I agree. Delaying the 911 call. I agree. They tried to hide it. And I think they were sued for that too by the family. I think the fire department and the police department were sued. Somebody was sued for not allowing the 911 call to be released. And then once that lawsuit went through, that's when it became public. Robert Ives, the prosecutor, resigned. Yeah, that was very strange. In 2017, he resigned. The two biggest cases of his entire career. It's time for him to shine. It's what you've been waiting for. A huge case and for you to go in there and get some shit done. What does he do? He leaves and doesn't give any reason. All he tells the public is nothing's wrong. Nothing's changed in my life. I'm just bowing out. I don't know what to say about that.
You'll take those calls.
Oh, 100% of the time.
Have you sat down with the mother since the day of the fire?
I tried to introduce myself personally. I have not. But
Your detectives.
oh yes,
I'm not sure, Star. It's the first I've heard that.
So let's clarify. So the detectives have sat down with the mother and spoken.
they have had conversation and communication with the mother. That's as far as I'll go.
So what is it then that you're saying that she has not done? You said that you...
Yeah, what are you
We
asking
need
for,
to talk
Doug?
extensively about the days leading up to and previous to the fire.
And just to again, so that if people ask, have all of the family members in the Delphi case been cleared?
Again, that gets into the investigative strategy of Delphi, and I'm not going to go there.
Well, you're saying in this situation, I just want to, we want to be apples and apples.
We
here.
received 46,000 tips, Sandra. Comparing apples to apples is appropriate, and I'll accept that. But apples to oranges, I won't. And what you're asking me is to do that. I'm not going to. They're very, very different from the very beginning. They're very...
Yeah, and I agree with Doug on this. These cases are completely different. 100%.
very, very, very different. And, they're all, I think we're up to somewhere around 42 or 43,000 tips.
And I get that. I'm not talking about tips. I'm just saying, have the family members in the Delphi case been cleared?
The vast majority of...
She's saying you keep talking about the family members in the Flora fires as if they need to do this, they need to do that. They're not doing enough. Why aren't you saying that when it comes to the Delphi case? I think is what she wasn't being clear on what she was asking.
Them have, yes. We're very engaged, and almost all of the, particularly the national media attention that's been brought to this has come from that family, those families of Abby and Libby. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Again, just for clarification purposes, you're saying the biggest challenge in this case on your guys' end is having those open conversations.
63 clocks. That's interesting.
With family members, when people
A name
were
generator.
at the house that earlier that day or in previous times, correct?
Yeah, and that information might not be it,
It's funny,
but
bro.
I think most people would understand that we need it, and we need to understand it.
And some family members, you're saying, some family members as well as people that were at that home haven't been cooperative with you?
I'll just say we need to meet with family members. I'm not going to dissect or bifurcate that family that's trying to endure this terrible loss.
Well, you already did that.
And those meetings,
So now you're done, is what you're saying.
global sense, are those meetings?
He's the one that put it out there that the family might have something to do with the fire.
Of course.
Or was it just a discussion? I mean, on global terms.
That's why I wanted to show
Generally, those
this.
start in more of a discussion, but they would be formal interviews in a criminal investigation. That's part of the process, right? Again, there's very little that we can do, or a little bit that we can do. There's a lot that we can't do, and what we won't do is put somebody in a box that would be inappropriate of us. We're not going to do that.
It's been over 2 years. Are you guys any closer to solving this case?
It's funny.
I think that we are continuing to work towards it just as we did 2 years ago.
Yeah,
and
not
we'll
very
continue
much,
until we come
Doug.
to an end.
I don't know. Something needs to be done with this case. I feel like it's stagnant at this point. It shouldn't be left up to like content creators and things like that to create a media buzz about this. We should be responding to a buzz and reporting on a buzz, not creating the buzz. This case needs more. I mean, did they start over yet? Are they planning to start over? Before we get into the dash cam video, and once again, guys, viewer discretion is advised. This is really tough. I still haven't watched it in its entirety. Just recording it, I walked away, but I'm going to watch it with you guys from beginning to end for the first time. Really, I've watched parts of it here and there, but never the entire thing through its entirety. Before we do that, though, let's read this article. ISP confirms Flora house fire that killed 4 young girls had one spot with accelerants, not several. Police say some initial details released to the public regarding the house fire in Flora that killed 4 young girls were incorrect. The fire claimed the lives of 4 young sisters, Keyana Davis, 11, Keyara Phillips, 9, Kerriele McDonald, 7, and Kionnie Welch, 5, after they were trapped inside the home in the 100 block of East Columbia Street. Originally, fire investigators said they found accelerants in several parts of the home. After repeated questions by Fox 59, state police confirmed that that's not true. So what was most likely happening is they didn't want to say where they found the accelerants. Only the killer would know that. All right, where'd you start the fire? Well, they know where the fire started. Only the killer really would know that. After further investigation, it was discovered that accelerants were only found in one part of the home, which means there's only one place where the fire started. This new information comes after Fox 59 obtained an email critical of the initial release from a private fire investigator who claims the state was wrong about this important detail. State police recently said they are watching persons of interest, and we proved even Doug Carter said that after he refused to admit that during the presser. In this case, no arrests have been made. The victim's mother, Gaylin Rose, hoped that development would speed up the investigation and bring her and her family a closure. She had previously complained she wasn't getting answers from investigating agencies or help in raising the reward money. Anyone with information about the case should contact the Indiana State Arson Hotline at 800-382-4628. Callers may receive up to a $5,000 reward for information that leads to an arrest of the persons responsible. So yeah, they know for a fact it was arson. You know. So basically we're looking at a quadruple homicide is what it is. Saska says, for someone to risk the lives of 4 little children for insurance, though, yeah, I'm not buying it. If they did that, I think they would do it at another time. So this is either a hate crime or a revenge crime out of hate. But I believe there's a lot of anger behind this. Whoever did this knew damn well the house was filled with people. Regardless of who they targeted specifically, they did not care. To me, that says anger. A lot of anger, a lot of hatred. So either this, in my opinion, we're looking at retaliation of some kind or racially motivated. That's my opinion. I mean, racism could play a part in it, but I'm not seeing anything that's pointing to this motive here. But I believe it is boiled down to those two: revenge, racially motivated, or hate crime. Well, actually, there could be a third reason. Somebody could have been maybe possibly trying to conceal something. Maybe they were victimizing one of the girls, and in order to silence them, they burned them. I haven't seen any evidence for that either. But we know that right across the street, what was it? The Pizza King. We know that there was a guy there arrested for sex crimes against children, and we're talking right across the street here. Doris Brockman is 100% correct here. Just think, somebody knows what happened. It's even possible that somebody's watching my little YouTube channel, my little live stream, and they're thinking, I do know something. Something's bothering them, or something that they wish they could have said that they thought was meaningless at the time. It could even be just somebody walking by. If you're anything like me, you're nosy. You sense things. Was there somebody suspicious? Did you see any activity? Maybe even up the street? Did you see somebody making comments a week prior to the crimes? Anything. Anything could be helpful. Indiana is the capital. What you up to, Grizz? Always good to see you, my friend. I think the NCAA is involved in this. I think they were part of the lawsuit, I believe. I mean, look at this crew. I feel like together they could have done anything. How often do you just have a whole group of sisters like that? It's crazy. Yeah, I agree. Brad says, I figured when Doug made that comment on the arrest announcement, Richard Allen arrest announcement, that we would see some movement in Florida. Apparently not. And what Brad's talking about is when they arrested Richard Allen and Doug Carter, he made his speech. He said, oh, well, I took the back roads and I went through Flora, So he kind of was kind of tying it together in a way. But I just feel like he plays to public opinion. He's not coming from his personal stance. He's there to spoon feed the public. He's not really part of these investigations. I'm sure he has access to whatever he wants, maybe. But, he's just there to communicate things to the public. He's like a liaison. Happy and healthy. Yeah, I need to put pressure on authorities and people, local people, that somebody knows there locally what happened. Okay, now I could be wrong if you guys could correct me on this, but I believe that somebody went in through the garage and there's a door right here. They opened the door and I think dumped an accelerant on the floor and lit it. But I could be wrong. Or maybe even walked in and then as they were walking back out, left a trail. Don says by the children's room outside. So it must have been around the backside because I think you walk in and the stairs take you to the left. So I could be wrong on that, on the layout. Yeah, it definitely seems more burnt back here where the garage is. All right, I just want to remind everybody, this is very graphic. We are about to watch the dash cam footage when they arrive to the fire. Viewer discretion is advised. Oh, wait, I have these photos right here too. I'm just not sure which side of the home the stairs go up. Maybe to the right. You walk in and then you take the stairs to the right. But it looks like the bulk of the fire was right there. Yeah, I don't lean towards the insurance part of it, Susan, either. I see anger here. Anger and hatred. Yeah, they need more information. They need more tips, really. They need to be more active. Somebody needs to be out there interviewing people. I mean, how hard could it hurt? What could it hurt? Anger and hatred. That's all I'm seeing here. Yeah, those poor babies. Just babies, really. Nope, looks like we have another super chat from 63 Clocks with the most incredible backstory on how they got the name 63 Clocks. Thank you for the thoughtful time and effort you put into prep for the live streams. It really shows. Thank you. I appreciate that. So we'll give a shout out to Shadowbox and 63 Clocks. Oh, and this just in, Cindy Lean. Thank you guys for sponsoring today's live stream. I appreciate it. One day we're going to be able to do a lot more. I know it. I know we will. We're going to stay at it until we're big and strong. We're going to eat our vegetables as a channel. We're going to eat our Wheaties. Okay. Thanks, Jamie.
We're right.
Where is it?
Stay up. Go upstairs. Just easy. Just easy. Hot. Yeah. County. Send Cutler Fire as well. Get Cutler Fire in route as well.
Yeah, where are the kids? Upstairs?
Where's the picture?
Stay around the corner to the left.
Okay, now I believe the audio that you're hearing is from the police officer who has made his way into the home.
County, send medics as well. Josh, you good? Josh, you good? I'm good. You good? I'll feel cool, man. I'll feel cool. Do we get? Can we bust the window up?
Yeah! Yeah, help! You go around the corner! Please! Let's go! Go around the corner! Keep going! What's that? Oh!
Now, I could be wrong, but I don't know if breaking out those windows was the best choice. I feel like that was feeding the fire. But I'm not sure. And the fire department is nowhere to be seen.
County, send tones. Keep sending off tones, please. We still got 4 kids inside. We can't get inside.
Go get her back. Go get fire. Don't worry about me.
This is completely unacceptable.
Hey, we need to roll, dude. There's people inside. I know, dude. I don't do anything. I know, dude. I know. My car's out here. We need to roll those.
To me, this was the hardest part to watch. That fire department could have been there in 5 seconds and put out that damn fire. Those girls would have been saved. I'm not saying that they killed those girls, but they could have saved them. They could have helped. Unacceptable.
Cool.
Remember, this dude is completely burned doing this. Very commendable.
Hey, they're coming. They're right here, dude. They're right here. They're coming.
We have an engine.
I didn't put. They have a airplane.
Like, who the hell's this guy out here?
Yeah.
Yeah, very hard to watch.
Run in there, Joe.
Miranda's asking, does anybody know why the fire department wasn't there? Did they not get a call? That's the $1 million question. Why the F weren't they there? We wouldn't even be talking about this case if they would have done their job properly. So I believe what you're hearing right now is one of the responding officers being severely burned while trying to go up the stairs. Very similar to how the mother of the victims was also burned trying to make their way up those stairs. I believe it was. It sounds almost like it was almost impossible. And that's kind of the part that bothers me, because if the fire department would have responded, they would have had those flames completely down and the fire under control, and probably would have been able to rescue those girls by accessing one of the windows from upstairs. Pop that ladder right up, crack that window out, and out they come. But instead, you have people who were unprepared coming in from the bottom, doing things that they shouldn't have been doing, like breaking out windows, feeding the fire. Thank you, Daisy. Very hard, Sparky. Later, Daisy. Now, one thing I noticed is the second that they knocked out these windows in the front, the place is engulfed in flames. See, he knocks out the windows here. Okay, so watch how he's knocking out the windows here. Now, shortly after, the whole place, he barely has time to walk away. Okay, I want you to notice the flames in the back here. He breaks the windows, and then I want you to notice how the fire grows back where most likely the girls are. Look in the back, upper right corner. It's instant. See that? Why would you do that? Look at the fire. Why did he do that? Good to see you, GP. Yeah, why the hell did he do that? I mean, I'm no expert. I'm just saying it was obvious. You don't feed a fire. You don't feed the monster. I wonder if all these folks have been identified, because there's been a couple of arson cases that we covered over the past couple years since I started my channel. And typically they want to come and look at their handiwork. You know, they like all the commotion. They feel like it's the art that they've created. That's the biggest part for them. Waiting for the fire trucks and the police and everybody to get all frantic, and then they just kind of sit back. So I'm curious if the person who lit this fire is still somewhere nearby. CJK says, and as many have said before, why didn't somebody grab a ladder from their home? The fire department should. That's a good thought. A ladder. The part that bothered me is early on, the only person that tried to save those kids was their mother. Nobody else tried to go up there until law enforcement came in. So no neighbors, no occupants, no bystanders, nobody. It was the mother and this officer. CJK, that is a good question. Where is a true investigative reporter? We need somebody out there asking questions, interviewing people, and getting people riled up there. Somebody needs to come forward and talk. Remember, loyalties change over time. People who were unwilling to speak previously, they may be willing to say something. So if you're watching this, you could make all the difference. The missing unsolved crime says the fireman seems to me to be responding too slowly. They are not behaving like responsible firemen. Something is very off to me. Yeah, it's almost like they were just playing firemen. They really didn't want to go and fight the fire. Either that or they're complicit in something much deeper, which does feed into conspiracies, but we don't have any evidence to tell us what the motive is. So, and if law enforcement, they're not going to keep us informed on what's going on. They're not going to keep the family informed. They're not going to release the 911 tapes. They're not going to do everything that they can, obviously. How do they expect any results? Not to mention they pretty much flat out accused the mother during a press conference of not cooperating. I just don't see how that's helpful. nosy neighbor. Yeah, I mean, you got to ask yourself, did they interview all these people? I mean, it's arson. If we know anything about what the FBI has tried to teach and what they've learned, they have a profile on this type of thing. It's a gateway crime. And that's another reason why a lot of people thought that Delphi and Flora were connected. You have arson first, which is a gateway crime. And then you have the brutal murder, just a short while later. All right, guys. And I'm sorry if you were offended by that video. It's hard to watch, I know. The red square thing is a little child's toy, like one of those little carts you push around. You sit in, it's like a little car. I think I have a photo of it. Yeah, because in the video, it's like the same color as a large gas can. So I was thinking the same thing. So I went directly and was looking at all these photos, and a little maybe a wagon turned upside down, or unless this is the top here. One of those little cars you push around. Children's toy. Yeah, somebody knows what happened here. Doug Carter's looking for the motive. Now, nobody in their right mind would ever do anything like this. So we're looking for somebody who's a little bit different, I think. I'm not sure the age group yet, because arson, as we know, is a gateway crime. Could we be dealing with a teenager? I don't think so. Just not quite sure what could have happened. Could it have been an accident? Could you have had an accelerant already present in an area, right, from a previous leak, and then something happened? I mean, is that possible? Yeah, they need to release the 911 calls. Okay, so the most recent information relating to the Flora Fires case came through the defense memorandum relating to a motion filed in the Delphi case. Now, they created this memorandum in support of that filing. I think it was a Frank's hearing. They were trying to get the search warrant thrown out, basically saying that investigators and law enforcement withheld a lot of information when they were getting the search warrant, when they were getting Judge Diener to sign for it in the Delphi case. And they left out all this information in order to get the search warrant. Now, within this memorandum, they talk about Flora. They tie in Flora with some of the suspects or persons of interest that they're trying to get everybody to look at instead of looking at their client, right? My opinion is when it comes to the Delphi case, we should have stayed focused and more on the Anthony Schott stuff and connection between Richard Allen and that profile. So that's what I believe the defense was doing, was trying to keep our eyes off of that connection and to be distracted. But also, they may be onto something and not even know it. But in my opinion, the memorandum is all crap. And we've already disproved most of it. It's all an embellishment is really what it is. But we're going to read this here. According to the memorandum, this is from Amber Holder. I'm not sure if she's changed her name since. Was married to Brad Holder. Brad Holder's the father of Logan Holder, who was dating one of the Delphi victims. Now, during this memorandum where they're trying to say, hey, these are the real killers, Brad and another gentleman, Patrick Westfall, a man by the name of Elvis Fields, and a man by the name of Messer. The defense is trying to say, hey, these are the guys that really did it in an Odinist ritual, and they left runes at the crime scene as a signature. And they did it because one of the victims' mothers was a quote-unquote race traitor. So they're stating that the Flora was most likely racially motivated and carried out by the same people who carried out Delphi. That's the narrative they're painting. Could it be true? It's possible. Have I seen anything at all that would lead me to believe that? No. Is it interesting? Should you just throw it away? No, because I'm definitely not an expert. And we know some things that seem unimportant today could be everything tomorrow, right? So this is Amber Holder, either giving during a lie detector or being interviewed. Brad became very nervous, and she's kind of telling investigators about an incident that happened between her and her then husband at the time, Brad Holder. Brad became very nervous and told her that she needed to stay away from Westfall. Now, Westfall is a guy by the name of Patrick Westfall, lived near the Flora Fire during the time, and then moved to Delphi after, and then there happened to be another crime there. So people are saying, well, it's obvious that, he had something to do with it. Well, we talked to Patrick Westfall about this, and after we read this, we'll look at that interview. And told her that she needed to stay away from Westfall or she would end up dead. She said that Brad told her Westfall and his crew were responsible for the murders of the girls in Delphi and a fire that killed 2 girls. I asked her if she knew of the fires in Flora that killed 4 girls, and she said she was not familiar with any fires that killed any children until Brad mentioned it today. She said Brad may have been talking about that fire, but had the number of killed wrong. She said Brad told her that Westfall and his crew had friends in several states and that they have no problem killing race traders. Here's a side note here. I attached a copy of Google Maps showing pins dropped at Westfall's address and close to where the girls were found, marked as Exhibit 40 and filed as confidential. Had friends in several states and they had no problem killing race traders. I asked her to clarify race trader, and she said she believed it meant white people who mix with other races. Amber said that Brad told her that Westfall belonged to a group called the Vinlanders and 22. Brad told her that Westfall had many people backing him up and powerful friends. She said that Brad was very nervous while telling her these things and was whispering like he was fearful someone else would hear him. She said that throughout the conversation, Brad was constantly telling her to stay away from Westfall. He also told her that Patrick had killed a lot of people and it didn't matter if they were innocent or not. Amber truly believes Brad is scared of Westfall. Prior to Amber leaving, she said that Brad told her to stay off Westfall's radar. And I can only protect you so much if you keep asking questions. He also told her that if Westfall found out she was married to him, that she would be in danger. Brad also questions her on why Westfall would be going on a date, that he was under the impression that Westfall was married or engaged to someone. So this is really all they had on it. They're trying to tie Flora in with Delphi. So basically, they're just feeding the conspiracy theories out there without providing real proof. I'm not the kind of person just to disregard information because you never really know. But we did talk with Patrick Westfall. We don't have. If you guys want to watch that full interview, it's titled "Live Q&A with Patrick Westfall." But I think I marked here 42:17 mark. All right, we'll go straight there. This is when we begin discussing the Flora fires. Yeah, it kind of looks like a holster or maybe a big knife.
He did. He stole it from a kid, and because that's the only people that did him at my house was the children. All the adults had stone runes and stone engraved runes at that point because, we'd already had our first sets. My little rune set that we had at the start of all of our adventure, and now we were up to having like Antheus stone with runes carved into them or things like that.
Here's a question for you. Have you ever heard of the Anthony Shots account? And if so, what do you think about it?
I think I heard that name on this podcast, one of your videos at some point, but I've never heard it before that. I really don't. I'm not even sure what it was I heard, but I thought I heard that name before here.
Yeah, that was somebody who was communicating with Libby. And the creator of it was a person named Keegan Klein. He's since been arrested for child sexual explicit material. He was basically catfishing 13-year-old girls.
That's the boy that had the profile pic.
Yep, missing. I think so. It's possible.
Abercrombie model boy in a photo was talking to one of the girls or something, right?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. That dude even from? Where did that guy live? Like, was he outside of Indiana? Did he live in Carroll County? Was he in Lafayette? Like, did he know where was that guy actually picked up at?
I think Peru. But he did spend some time in Kokomo.
Do I think someone's framing for the murder? Yeah, goddamn prosecutor and defense team. I doubt somebody went out to the woods with the specific idea, like, man, I'm gonna lay these sticks down and get that Pat Westfall son bitch. I really don't think it was anything maniacal like that, but I think it's more the prosecution, defense team trying to tie strings together to come up with something. That the way that report read to me is it sounded like I was getting ready to be the patsy of choice before they went after somebody else, just because I'm a target, bud, and I'm not a hard one to hit. You don't have to really aim your arrow. You don't have to aim your arrow super specific that bastard to fall on me. I'm a pretty big target.
And I don't want to be, and I'm not saying you're innocent or guilty. I just don't want to be wasting all this time looking at you when we could be looking in further and finding stuff on Richard Allen or anybody else that might be involved. Here's another question.
Unfortunately, people are.
Just want to remind those out there. Any views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by participants are solely that of the participant and do not reflect the views, opinions, policies, or position of the Sleuth Intuition channel. Some people find that hard to grasp.
The people are going to have to keep looking at me because my name has been brought up, and until they actually get somebody and they 100% can nail that son bitch to the wall and give him what he deserves, there's still going to be spotlight
let me
on
ask
me.
you this: if you wanted to, well, let me ask this question first. Are you? This is from Sleuthy Goosey. Patrick, are you, or were you part of the Sons of Odin?
No.
Now,
the Sons
this
of
is a,
Odin was started off with the whole political thing, and I was at that time I was a made man with the VSC and only one club at a time. You can't be in multiple clubs at the same time.
and we already talked about this. Your landlord in Delphi. Oh no, we didn't ask that.
No, one in Delphi is gentleman with the last name of Whiteman. And he actually wasn't too bad of a guy. He wasn't the best on keeping his places more up to date. And
Isn't that crazy that this guy's last name is Whiteman? And Richard Allen apparently told Dan Doolin, or he wrote down the person that he spoke to is Richard Allen Whiteman. And of course, Richard Allen lives on a street, Whiteman. Does that mean anything, or is that just something strange?
Clean and put together, and they kind of fell more on the line of slummy than they did not slummy. But the dude gave me a place to live when I was homeless, living in a tent. So I can't say too much bad about the guy.
Here's one from DC Primetime. Question: can you help give insight? And I had the same question. I was about to ask you the same thing. Can you help give insight as to whether the killer was trying to make it look Odinistic, quote unquote? And if so, whether he thinks the killer was a legit practitioner or just trying to throw off law enforcement?
In my opinion, if this person was under the impression that this is something that needed to be done in the name of Ossetru to the gods or the goddesses, that person would have put a hell of a lot more thought and energy into what was done. There was nothing about from the little diagrams that she would have about how the girls were laying on the ground, the sticks around them. There wasn't a taste in my mouth that was Ossetru in general. Now, if it was some kind of Celtic druid, the Wiccan, there's nothing about that. It's just like, wow, Ossetru. Pagan in a sense,
F?
maybe.
The F looking shape kind of looks like a rune a little bit, I guess, kind of. But this is looks more like a handprint, maybe. I'm not sure. But right here,
I mean,
like the sharp angle, and then it kind of goes straight down.
That F could look like one of the either Anzus or Feiwu.
Yeah.
Because one of those is an F going up, the other is an F going down. Or that could just be the letter F of the English alphabet that doesn't make it a rune just because it looks like an F. That just could be an English F. Or it could be a handprint.
And these don't look like runes to you?
No, absolutely not in any way, shape, or form. I don't see runic anything. Upside down, the one you have in the middle, the F thing in the middle, if you turned one of the F runes upside down and it was merged off or inverted, whatever you want to call it, yeah, you see, so it'd still be backwards and upside down, and that'd be the only thing in that configuration, man, that strikes me as runic in any way.
Let's go to Jamie's comment here. It just sucks you can't trust a word. Brad says, I believe he told Amber that, but so many weirdos I've noticed in Delphi case like to elude they are part of the crime. Yeah, it's like part of their character or who they are. They want to seem mysterious, or they're trying to manipulate somebody. All I have to say is everybody was looking at Brad Holder from the beginning. Everybody. Now, apparently he has an alibi, but we also heard the same thing in the Shannon Howe case, that the people, they were allowed to go free for some time because nobody really verified their alibi. They thought they were in jail, but they made bail that day. And, that's the reason they went out and did what they did, was to retaliate against law enforcement. They wanted to create chaos and embarrass them. And then it turned into something much more, much worse. So I think that Brad Holder and all this might hold some weight. But these guys, they gave DNA, they gave hair, they took polygraphs, they did all this. And I know you guys are going to say, well, so did, Keegan Klein and Tony Klein. So I just say, keep an open mind. I'm not seeing anything that these guys are tied into anything. Does it all seem very suspicious? Yes. Can you put together a really good conspiracy theory with it? Yes. Is any of it factual? No. So that's the part that we have to work on, trying to verify the connectors between fact and conspiracy. All right. So I think we got, maybe about 15 more minutes left.
I'm here as long as other people need to know stuff, or you want me on your show, man. I cleared the schedule for tonight. I ain't got nothing.
I don't know if I went far enough.
We sat with our kindred because you said.
I don't know if I went far enough back here.
So you have a few beers.
John,
probably divorce. Wasn't a big social bug. He, when he would first go up and meet people, it was awkward. It was almost painful to watch, breaking the ice and the way he would conduct himself and carry himself. And so he lived vicariously through me on a lot of stuff.
Here's a good question. Did you ever meet Gaylin or her kids? Did your kids go to school with them?
That's the house fire people. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Flora schools. Actually, I think they brought Flora kids into Delphi for school. And as far as my kids knowing them, if they were in the same schools, my kids probably knew them, were around them. I think I had a few kids that were lower down in the age. Yeah, I had kids probably around those age at that time. They probably saw them in school, interacted with them day to day and things like that. But they never came home and talked about them.
I think the oldest was 12.
At that point in time back then, I had a 12-year-old, a 13-year-old, a 10-ish, and an 8 or 9-year-old. So I had kids right in that same age bracket, all the way across, 4 of them. So they never mentioned it.
Here's a question from Sparky. Do you think that Brad Holder killed or had anything to do with killing Libby and Abby? And he already answered that question.
Yeah, I know his boy was dating one of the girls, but I don't think they'd ever even met in person. From what I understood, it was just all online interaction from what I understood, but I can't remember at this point where I even heard it.
Yeah, that was
how
my
much
question.
validity it had.
I actually have, that's the only question I've written down is here. What did you know about Abby and Logan's relationship?
All online, teenage, small social skill type stuff. A lot of these kids can't talk. You can be best friends online. I've watched my kids do it. They'll talk with somebody through text, and they're within 5 feet of them, and just they can't interact. They can't socialize. They can't do any of that stuff anymore. It's almost sad to watch, but I think it was all online, talking and chatting.
Yeah, because Brad Holder would come visit you in Delphi. I wondered if maybe that's when Logan Holder, his son, was meeting up with Abby and Libby or something like that.
No, Logan would never venture away from my house and go anywhere. He stayed around with my boys in the backyard, or they would walk across the street to Canal Park, or the other way across the street to the canal itself. So he never ventured off into town and wandered by himself.
And what do you have to say, people like me, when you were talking about leather pouches, and we freak out because we've been looking at the Delphi. All right, guys. Unfortunately, we are running out of time. Let me see if there was anything else I wanted to show. Here's some of the autopsy information here. So it looks like suit inhalation, nasopharynx. Not sure what that is. Oropharynx. Looks like nasal and oral. Suit deposition of skin of body, cherry red discoloration of heart blood, full thickness burns of skin of right ear, right arm, and that's specific to this victim here. No evidence of blunt force or sharp force trauma. So the fire wasn't started to cover up anything. Asphyxia due to inhalation of soot. All right, guys, that's everything that I had for you. If you could hit the thumbs up on the way out. And if you are part of the replay crew, you know what to do. Drop a comment. We'll get back to you. Jamie says, I'm glad Patrick Westfall gave you an interview, Sleuth. I feel like he did what an innocent person would do in that situation. Well, you never know. There's always a human element. You know, you can come out and get in the public eye. I'm undecided. I don't know. I'm keeping an open mind. You know, you don't want to close any doors. But from what I see, no new doors opened either, right? So sometimes, yeah, that's what an innocent person would do. But we also know a lot of people, they like to inject themselves. Because if you inject yourself, you can start to control the narrative. So you have to have the ability to look at both sides and try to think outside the box and understand that human element. What might be motivating these, you know, these people. But the vibe I got directly from him was I have nothing to hide. Even when it came to all the racial stuff, he owned it all. You know, I wasn't here to judge him. I was here to garner information. You willing to provide information? You're damn right I'm going to listen. But the vibe I got was I'm innocent. I may or may not be a bad guy in other ways, but when it comes to this, you know, I'm the wrong guy. But then again, I'm not sure. I'm not here to say, and I said it right here. I said it to his face. I'm not here to say you're innocent or guilty. I'm here to gather information. Sparky says defense never should have named anybody in their theory or memorandum. Well, they want you looking over here, not over here. The online true crime armchair sleuth community is a very powerful weapon. I've seen it in action. I've seen it do tremendous harm, and I've seen it do tremendous good. And it's a very powerful weapon when you direct its energy somewhere. And they definitely, the defense attorneys definitely, when it comes to the Delphi case, did not want that energy weapon pointed directly at Richard Allen and his connection to the Anthony shots. That's just my opinion. So the fact that they're telling us it's related to Flora pushes it further away from me, because it makes for a good story. Everything lines up, and there could be some truth to it. I just haven't seen it yet, but I'm open to it. Yeah, nose and mouth. That's what I thought. Daisy says Keyana, Keyara, Kerriele, and Kionnie. So we'll pray for justice. We'll keep this in the forefront, guys, and anybody watching that knows anything, no matter how small. There's the number, 1-800-382-4628. Thank you, Brad. Shout out to everybody who was able to catch the live stream. Yeah, guys, hit the like button on the way out if you could. And if you are watching and not subscribed, please hit the bell icon. And if you're already subscribed, consider becoming a member. Good missing, good. Let us know what you find. Yeah, great kids. Always smiling, very happy. I believe they could have accomplished anything together. They seem like a little crew. Thank you, Sparky. Thank you, Caricature. What's up, Farmer? Daisy says, yes. Why didn't defense point to KK, Ron Logan, where they already had a following? Yeah, Ron Logan would have been an easy target. I mean, there's so many people out there that are convinced on Ron Logan for a number of reasons. And they're not all bad reasons, but it's just not enough. It's nothing factual. Like I said, you always have to consider the human element. Why is that one single individual choosing to do what they're doing? Because they could be lying, they could be misleading, they could be telling a half truth. I mean, you have false confessions. You have people who might be doing a crime while another crime happens. They're trying to hide that from police. You just never know. But that is all my time, guys. I appreciate it. And I'm going to catch you on the next one. Have a safe day. Take care of yourselves.